Hey people, got a really great show again. So I'm going to start here with these comments, i.e. the Google's blocking your comment. You either can't say stinking bishop or monkey bashing. 'Cause when I click on it, it just won't come up in there. And another comment I had was I don't agree with your English reading. And you should really reconsider it. I can read it in Hebrew and Arabic. In my opinion, your English reading and interpretation is off. They're fun to consider. So, about 6 years ago when I started this, I had looked up and you can see here in Wiki under the Torah, it says Islam calls it the Torah, and they consider it to be the word of God given Moses. However, the Muslims also believe that the original revelation was corrupted. Somewhere I was reading about 6 years ago, I thought it was here on Wiki, but maybe somewhere else. They said when the tribes left Egypt, it said they were supposed to write a copy for each of the tribes. I think it was Judah was supposed to write copies for each of the tribes, but when they come to get their copy, they couldn't read it. And so, they can't read it in Arabic or Aramaic. They can't read it. And the writings say it's written in Brit. And I think I prove it every movie, and I'm fixing to prove it again. So in that movie yesterday, I showed you that Lent is, they said this 100-year-old Catholic dictionary, the Teutonic word Lent, which we employ to denote the 40 days fast preceding Easter, originally meant no more than the spring season. Lent, the spring season, a Teutonic word. So I put it in my ancient Torah search. I tried it spelling several different ways with an E or an H, and I tried both the T's and without. And this is the closest place it come up. And this word only comes up this one time in Genesis 50. And I looked down here and I seen the arboreum of Yom, the 40 days. And so I knew this was it. That's Lent, 40 days. And that's what comes up if you Google Lent meaning. First on top of the page, 40 days. Lent is the period of 40 days which comes before Easter in the Christian calendar. Beginning on Ash Wednesday, Lent is a season of reflection and preparation before the celebrations of Easter. By observing the 40 days of Lent, Christians replicate Jesus Christ's sacrifice and withdraw into the desert for 40 days. So this is in the second line of the last chapter of Genesis. And, the last line of a chapter and the last chapter of a book always opens things up. Really opens up what you've been reading. What this says is who ply us. Pollen in the pollen place who in. The W-Y, who. Y means how or who. Who, P-L-Y. Who apply. Us, U-S. P-O-L-I-N. Pollen. Ping. And back the other way after the tack, it's backwards. I-N-P-N-I. The place, ping. Who in. Who ply us polling the place who in. Who back, this is a V, vac, but it's who enfold, in return, enfold. Who enfold, who back, allow, who suckle to, S-Q-U-L-U after this tack. Who back, allow, who suckle to. And so, who apply us pollen, is the stamen. The anther, the filament, the stamen, who us ply pollen, and then in return, who back who suckle to is the stamen and the stigma. That's what it's trying to say, stamen and stigma. Who ply us pollen to place who in, stamen, who back allow who suckle to, in stigma. And then wits, W-I-X, and so the X represents an X, a plant, or cross, or a T-S. And so it's W-I-T-S, wits, or witch. You know, the Latin makes it as C-H. You could read that as witch or wits. And the wits, who, you know, the vav and the yod here is who, us, U-S. Wits, who us, put to. If you're new here, everything that starts with an A, I read it backwards. And everything comes after this tack, I read it backwards and forwards. Wits, who us, put to, who, Y-W-Y, who, dive, D-V, of, O-V, D-I-W, do. Wits, who us, put to, who dive of do. And so what it's saying here is that the flower is doing the talking. Who ply us, you know, us is the flower, the stamen doing the talking. Who ply us pollen, place who in. Who back allow who suckle to. And wits who us put to, you know, which who us put to, who dive of in. And we put it on the bees. We put the pollen on the back of the bees, who dive of in. And so bees is a big thing over at the Vatican. I was coming these threes. You'll see them all over this, all over the column and on the banners. Every other banner has hold 3 bees on it. And if you look at the Pope's Easter robe, it's covered with golden bees. There's all the golden bees on there. They think a lot about the bees. Which who us put to, who dive of dew, to my apres repays Lent too. In my appreciation, we repay by Lent, by 40 days of fasting too. You know, the servants, his servants are bees who dive of dew. And so being that they misinterpreted every word in here, you know, we have to look at Lent better, and it looks like, you know, it's of chant. It's going to be hunt, H-N-T, or of chant, like the Buddhist chant, Anapamarasa, of chant to, who va, V-A-V, who va, V, to. And so if this has a dot in it, you know, it would say who, you know, to make, B-A-B-Y, to. And so that could mean father, you know, sometimes it does have the dot. And then you see the same word again for embalmed here, except it doesn't have the L. And it's who chant to, her pays. Who chant to, her pays to. Lars is rule. Lars is rule. He who wears the crown of laurel is rule. And then you see here, and were required is who am from law. You were required. Who from law. Will to. W-L-W. You know, Lou is it. You know, whatever we're talking about would be hit. And so be to it, to Lou. And from law to Lou, to it. from the job, backwards starts with a. From the job, ray us. Give conum law, are required to make from law. And Jimmy, the hunt is, the HNT. So it's the same word as Lent there, the HMT. And from law, the days of the hunt is. And so maybe your 40 days in the desert is your hunting. The hunt, make from, if you want to read it as an M, is to make from. But it's the hunt is, or the hunt, make from. Who in Q? Who in Q, to give to. What to mix rise. What to from its rise. Shiva is just. Shiva, S-H-V-O. Shiva is just. Just is I, to make, U-S, to make us, to make, connect from. Shiva is just. And then the next line here, and when we're past is to make OVR, over. To make over to, as in a Passover. To make over to Jimmy, the days in kite to. Sounds like something that flies. Kite is a bird, a raptor. To make over to Jimmy and kite to. To make dibber. Dibber is the change of word. A dibber is to change the word. And so you changing the word of the times, all their ancient calendar worked off of the planets and where they were at. And every day had a different name depending on its year. There's a 19-year cycle on the moon until the day will have the same name. But every day, January 1st doesn't have the same name because the moon's in a different place. And dibber isn't a word, but it's a change of word, a dibber. To make dibber, to make change the word. To make over to the days in kite to. To make dibber, to make change the word. Down here in the 10th line, here's that word, V-I-O-S. I always say it meant Vios. And you used to be able to Google it, and it meant to see. But it's, to make, I consume, would be to see. Who I consume, who sees. You see there, they got it right, and he observed. But every time it comes up, it's made to see. Vios, did, prepared. I think this is the only time it comes up like this. So this word Lent, L-H-N-T, or of hunt, it's the only time it comes up. They say it means to embalm, and it comes up 4 other times with different spellings, and 2 of them here are embalmed in the same chapter, and then one more time is embalmed, same chapter. Here it's in songs, it means the fig has ripened. And their interpretation of this is the fig tree puts forth her green figs, and the vines with the tender grapes give a good smell arise. Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away too. But you can see it, here this is only one of these words, read. It's only put words on one of them. But you see this one, the likey is here, to likey. And this one is like, to, LK. And And neither one of them match either one. They're saying, when they say this is rise up, they mean both of these mean rise up. And here it's to, and here it's in come away. And so you have three different meanings, and two of them are total opposite on the same word. 1980. 1980. And they won't give this a number because they'll give it so many different meanings they don't want you to catch on. But you can see is a good smell arise is rich, R-I-C-H. The rich fumy, to fume, to rise up. But up here on this Lent, the fig tree puts forth her green figs. Is the Tan, T-A-N-E is the Tan. Several movies back I told you the Tan means the upper class, the fashionable class. The Tan. Hunt, H-N-T. Hunt. The piggy, P-G-I-E. Not the figgy, but the piggy. They give this P an F, but the Q is the F. This is a P. The piggy. A piggy is a young pig. Like green is something that's young. And not figs, but they're green pigs. To edge. To E-G. To edge pines. The Tan, the upper class, hunt the piggy to edge pines. And so that's a good place if you ever go wild pig hunting. Go to the edge of the pines. It's hard to kill something in these thick pine forests down here. Go to the edge of the pines, on the power lines or something. A good place to get pigs. And then you hit the wall, and this all reads backwards. And so they leave all that out. But sometimes these interpretations come from the words actually reading backwards. And that's why they word it like this. So now you have the pig in both directions. From in piggy, we jig path in on 8. Some dare, S-M-D-R. Some dare not new. Some dare not new. The rich fume make like. Yeah, a pig makes a much more richer fume. And some people, many religions don't touch the pig. So it looks like what it's making fun of here. The rich fumy likey. The royalty. Roy is a royal class. A lot of times they say it's the king or the shepherds or the shepherd king. The royalty make pity. The royal tie make pity. And likey like. And likey give like. So if we go back up to this word Lent here, L-H-N-T, L-E-N-T, Lent, they say it's to embalm. So this to, it comes from this L. Every time something starts with an L, most of the time they'll say it's to, but it's actually of. L, of your father and from your mother. And so if something starts with an M, it means from, and they usually get that right. But if it starts with an L, you replace it with of, hunt. So you can see it's to embalm here. And here is so is how, hunt to. But if we look over here in Greek, down this word, the embalmers, you see here's the to is of. Proper English you would say of your father. If a girl's got kids from a bunch of different daddies, this one's of Bucky Smith's kid, and this one is. And so of could also be replaced as to is. This kid here, he too is Bucky Smith's. And this kid is, of the Father. To is ent. And so that says Lent right there. Of L-E-N-T. To the embalmers, the Lent. The Lent of face it is. The Lent of face it to is. And so that Lent of face, it just lents. The skies only lend. All the gods in Egypt, they had animal heads. And it's because they just lent the face. It's not permanent. It changes with time. Here they give it the to embalm, but it's still, the L isn't there. They just give it that. But it's ent. It's Lent. The embalmer's the ent. It comes up several more times. Vav, N-E-T, E-N-E-T. They give the embalm now. So they add that embalm in there a couple more times. On that one it's 4, it's only 2 here. But yeah, you see how it starts with the Vav here. And then the ent. The Vav. And then ent. And so what's going on, the sun's path through the sky. On Easter, it's due east. And that's where your Lent is. And it's because of this. In the summer, in our summer, we're going to have the sun on the northern side. And when the planet's over here, the sun's going to be on the southern side. It's going to be our winter. But when we're sitting 9 degrees to the 2 nodes, that's when the sun is here and here at Easter. And so that's where your word enter comes from. And that's where your word end comes from. Lent, L-E-N. The end and the enter. The end of the old year and the enter of the new year is coming up. In these 40 days is the entrance of the new year. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. I hope I proved my point. A good day.